There's a company called Empire Pictures back in America, and we did a film for them about 3 years ago called Rage War, which was released over here, I believe, called The Dungeon Master, something like that. A horrible film. I mean, it wasn't worth watching.
If you don't know much, if at all, about Empire, Full Moon, and Charles Band-produced films in general, tough luck, kid. Go watch my video on Rage War. Also, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about a little movie about little creatures that's a sequel to another little movie about little creatures. Why Ghoulies 2? Well, to be honest with you, I just think it's better than the first Ghoulies. A lot better paced, a lot more fun, and features a far superior supporting cast for the little dudes. But if you really need to know what Ghoulies Broj 1 was all about, then here's all the summary you'll ever need for it, babe.
Ghoulies. They'll get you in the end.
And this person that runs the company they were going to do a Ghoulies sequel. Well, when they did the first Ghoulies, it was right about the time we had done our movie, so I went in to see a private screening for it, and they happened to have a copy of the first Ghoulies. So the guy says, do you want to see part of it? And I says, yeah, okay, well, I'm here, show it to me, you know. So I watched about 30 minutes, and I says, I've seen all I want to see.
They call me Dick, but you can call me Dick.
And there you go. You've seen the first Ghoulies movie. One thing I'd like to note before jumping into this one is Ghoulies overall gets often passed off as a Gremlins knockoff. But I don't think that's fair. It did come out very closely after Gremlins, but to just pass it off as a cheap knockoff is not fair. The crew involved, in particular John Buechler, did a wonderful job in the Ghoulies themselves, and plot-wise, they aren't some long-forgotten and hidden-away species like the Mogwai were. The Ghoulies are fucking interdimensional beings or something. You have to summon them, and they became very well known for coming out of toilets. And the story behind that is Charles Band coming up with a great marketing campaign for the film, which is the bald green ghoulie coming out of a toilet, with the great tagline of, "They'll get you in the end." The scene featuring this wasn't even actually originally filmed for the movie, or even in the script, I don't think, so they kind of just tossed it in there last second before the film's release. The toilet would later become such an important part of the Ghoulies lore, because in Ghoulies 3, they're summoned through a fucking evil toilet. It's amazing. I kind of love how I said one thing I'd like to note, and I just went off into some giant tangent. Let's get on with it. Here come the boys to make you scream until you like it. This is Ghoulies 2, and why it's fucking awesome. An old man stole a burlap sack full of ghoulies from a cult that I guess worships the ghoulies, and he attempts to melt the ghoulies to death in a coincidental barrel of toxic waste. The ghoulies defy conventional logic and don't melt, but the old guy falls in and gets fucking skeletoned. And then the Ghoulies stow away onto a traveling carnival haunted house attraction called Satan's Den, which happened to make a pit stop at the same service station. I think I just said Ghoulies like 5 times in under a minute. Well, 6 now. Ghoulies, 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 ghoulies. Only a ghoulie can defeat a ghoulie. Which, holy fuck, is actually true. In the finale of this film, a giant ghoulie is summoned to destroy the smaller normal ghoulies. Take a shot every time Pete says Ghoulies, which if you're counting along at home, I think it's been about 18 or 19 times already. Ghoulies 2 follows the great 80s tradition of basing a large portion of your movie in a carnival or amusement park of some sort, which the size of varies depending on how big it needs to be for the scene in question, like Funhouse, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and I guess Humanoids from the Deep. Satan's Den is at risk of being shut down because it just isn't making much money. Corporate Dick Jones Harden Jr. is threatening to shut Satan's Den down because of a supposed plummet in profit, but what he really wants is to replace the haunted house with a mud wrestling show. The crew of Satan's Den must now band together to really make everything work and prove that the attraction should stay. The crew being Sir Nigel, the noble midget, played by the great Phil Fondacaro, the hard-boozing magician, Great Fausto, played by the very iconic Royal Dano, and Larry, who is basically just hunky hero guy. Hardin Jr. is also constantly trying to get into the pants of carnival exotic gypsy dancer Dixie, played by the very cute Dale Wyatt, who I'm mentioning because she was a paramedic in From Beyond, which I'm mentioning because I reviewed From Beyond like 845 years ago. The weird, creepy younger brother from Night of the Demons sees one of the ghoulies in Satan's den, which he throws an actual fucking ninja star at. Like, he just happens to has it and is a damn good shot with it, which the ghoulie catches in its mouth and breaks it. These fuckers are some tough little dudes. The ghoulie sighting causes great publicity for Satan's Den because they're believed to just be part of the attraction. The skyrocket in ticket sales is making Hardin Jr. change his mind, but he also pulls a mayor from Jaws because people are getting fucking killed and he's just sweeping it under the rug because gotta make that profit. Poor little Will Butler gets straight up lynched by the ghoulies and they electrocute Great Fausto to death, so the remaining crew of Satan's Den need to now not only fight for their haunted house attraction, but for their fucking lives too. Also, Wasp is in this movie. A group of metalheads and their William Butler attend Satan's Den and just get totally fucked with, and happen to be listening to a song by Wasp that they actually recorded specifically for this movie. I'll let Blackie himself explain how that came about.
So they approached us with this. They said, would you like to do the soundtrack for it? And I says, no, I don't think so. And they said, well, why not? And I said, well, I saw the first one and I wasn't very impressed with it. And the guy says, well, you realize it did $35 million in business. And I said, excuse me, I do believe I could get interested in this.
Really scary, mister.
Come on in.
And they made a music video for the movie too, featuring clips from Ghoulies 2 and Blackie as a ringleader of sorts for the Ghoulies. I did mention this in my review of Rage War as well, and I'm doing it again because it's Wasp, and I actually really love this song, and the video that goes with it. I'm just sort of disappointed that this song just shows up to literally be played on a boombox and then show up for the ending credits. I feel like the teens listening to Tormentor would have been a clever wink and nudge to Dungeon Master and Terrorvision, and then use Scream Until You Like It for when the Ghoulies are wreaking havoc on the amusement park. The film ends with a sequel tease because that one ghoulie is still in the toilet. Cut to some more Wasp, and that's Ghoulies 2. Ghoulies 2 is great. It's briskly paced, the effects of the ghoulies themselves are awesome, and the Satan's Den aesthetic is fantastic. Oftentimes, sequels are considered to be lesser of films, but I feel like that stubborn and completely ignorant mindset needs to start getting shut down. Yes, some sequels suck, but look at Terminator 2. That's one of the biggest and most well-received films in the world, and it's a part 2. Guyver 2 is way better than Guyver 1. Every Friday the 13th movie, and maybe this will sound bold, is in my opinion better than the first Friday the 13th movie. And of course, Ghoulies 2 is better than Ghoulies 1. Directed by the great Albert Band, father of Charles Band, who produced Ghoulies 2 for his then Empire Pictures. The Ghoulies were done by John Buechler, with David Allen doing the stop motion effects. John and David, of course, also worked together with Band on Rage War, aka Dungeon Master, and a number of other Empire and Full Moon pictures together, and respectively have both done excellent work outside of Empire and Full Moon. Buechler, of course, directed and doing the fantastic effects work for Friday the 13th Part 7, which introduced the world to Kane Hodder as Jason, and one of Jason's most iconic looks. David Allen has been on the visual effects team on films such as The Howling, Ghostbusters 2, and would reunite with the great Phil Fondacaro on the awesome sword and sorcery flick that was a huge part of my childhood, Willow, and later on for the really fun Doll Man vs. Demonic Toys. Also, Phil is super memorable in Ghoulies 2 because the character he plays in Satan's Den is like this little gorilla, the costume of which comes in handy at the end in tricking the giant ghoulie that kills ghoulies because it mistakes Phil as a fucking ghoulie. A number of B-movie recognizables show up in Ghoulies 2, like Donnie Jeffcoat, who was also in Night of the Demons as the pervy younger brother that wants to see his sister's big cha-chas. Sasha Jensen, who is also in Halloween 4 as Brady, the cheating boyfriend that likes daughters of cops that do it by the book. Royal Dano, who was once in lots of old-school Western classics like The Outlaw Josie Wales, and then started appearing in movies such as Cocaine Wars, House 2, and Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And William Butler, the great William Butler. Everyone that watches this show should know who he is. Dude is in a crap ton of horror movies, Savini's Night of the Living Dead remake, Friday the 13th Part 7, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. The guy, in my humble opinion, is very important when it comes to horror films. Blackie Lawless was hesitant at first in working with Band again because he didn't really enjoy Dungeon Master as a film and thought the first Ghoulies was crap. But while working on the music video, the effects work really grew on him, and he was really captivated by how lifelike they were able to make them appear and how much personality they had, even saying he felt weird watching them get put back into their boxes. And that's Ghoulies 2. I never know how to end these fucking things. Let's just watch the ghoulie bite the corporate asshole on the ass. Or the balls. I don't know. They most certainly do get you in the end.